The elephant is not in the living room. Repeat, the elephant is not in the living room. No, this isn't a code phrase to alert the French resistance that the Allies are going to land soon. This is the thing that we're not supposed to talk about, but we have to talk about. You know the old expression, the elephant in the living room, that's a big, obvious thing that's kind of awkward, so nobody wants to talk about? Well, in this case, the elephant is Donald Trump, who says he's not going to be competing, attending, participating in any of the Republican debates now. And so he's the elephant not in the living room. So what's everybody else going to talk about? Hey, everybody, I'm Steve Green with Bill Whittle and Scott Ott. This is Right Angle, brought to you by the members at BillWhittle.com. Gentlemen, so Donald Trump had made it known that he probably wasn't going to attend the first debate, which I think is being held in Wisconsin on Wednesday night. I'll be drunk blogging that for PJ Media, by the way. It'll be fun. But he went to Truth Social, which I understand some people actually read, over the weekend.
The media does.
To make the following announcement. The public knows who I am and what a successful presidency I had, with energy independence, strong borders and military, biggest ever tax and regulation cuts, no inflation, strongest economy in history, and much more. And the next part is in all caps in classic Trumpian style. I will therefore not be doing the debates. Plural. Bill, my buddy Kurt Schlichter over at Town Hall says there's no upside to Trump attending the debates. He's pretty much peaked, and where he's peaked is a very good place to be in the polls right now. What do you think? Is this the smart move? Or should he be there as just a decency of the Republican voters who he still needs to court?
I don't know if it's the smart move or whether it's the right move, but it is definitely the Trump move.
Yes.
And in this one example, we have Donald Trump encapsulated perfectly. All of his benefits and all of his weaknesses, I think, in one specific example. On the one hand, well, first of all, let me say, it's pretty clear to me that Donald Trump is not afraid to debate these people. It's not a question of him not wanting to face them. This is a tactical decision. It's not like, So this is Trump in a nutshell. On one level, it's a really brilliant thing to say, because what he's essentially saying is this isn't a competition. We know who the Republican nominee is going to be. It's going to be me, and I'm not going to participate in this kabuki theater pretending like it's not. I am the former president of the United States. I'm running on my record. I know what the polls say and so on. So from a tactical point of view, what Trump is essentially doing from a tactical point of view is saying, I'm not going to concern myself with going through the motions when Donald Trump is the president of the United States, and in not only in his mind, in many other people's minds, and what he puts out in that statement is absolutely correct. People know him. They either like him or they don't. His record speaks for itself and all the rest of it. His campaign ads will cover that. There's no gain or reason to be doing these debates. It lowers his let me rephrase that. It reduces him to one of several choices when his position is there aren't several choices. That's the pro-Trump side. The anti-Trump side is the part about Donald Trump that makes so many of us who support him just wince. You know, it's like this is the thing that this is the flaw in Donald Trump is this unwillingness to adhere to, I don't want to say standards, or I'm not exactly sure what it is I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say from my heart is he should be at those debates. That's how the system works. The system works like this. We have primary debates to determine our candidate for each party, and that system is part of the job and it's part of the process, and you should be expected to participate in that part of the job and that part of the process. Now, whether he's doing this because he suspects that Biden is not going to be debating anybody has he already announced that he won't? That Biden will not be debating in the Democratic primaries?
Biden won't debate anybody in the Democratic primary. He's a sitting president. Neither of these challengers really has a chance. I can see that.
To some degree, I think that actually mitigates Trump's decision to not get into the debates, because basically what he's saying is, okay, so the guy who's currently in the White House is not going to debate his no chance rivals, and so I'm not going to either. I mean, Biden announced that he wasn't going to go to to do the Democratic debates before Trump did. So there's a little bit of tit for tat there. But ultimately, when it comes right down to it, I think it's a mistake not to do it. I think it's unseemly, and this is the word that I often use when I think about Donald Trump is that he is unseemly. I am supporting him 100%. And I'm supporting him not only because of what he's fighting against, but just based on, as he mentioned in that statement, based on his record. He's an extraordinarily successful president. He's a remarkably successful president. So he's got my full support, and I understand why he's doing it. But if he would stop doing things like this, he would be considerably more popular. Not because of his attendance in the primaries so much as he would be just smashing a little bit less China as he bulls around, inside the China shop. And so there you are. This is the man. We when we started talking about Donald Trump, when he was appearing on the radar back in 2015. We were comparing him frequently to Ulysses S. Grant, and that is, yes, this guy's got a drinking problem. Yes, he's got a bunch of other problems, but I can't spare this man. He fights.
There you go.
And I'm still in that same exact place.
All right, Scott, put yourself in the shoes of one of the other Republican contenders. I can't remember. I think there are 6 or 7 of them that made the pretty low bar to. Is it up to 8 now? Yeah, to get the debate, they had to get, I think, 40,000 donations of at least $1 and 1% in the polls. This is not a high hurdle to make it onto this debate stage. But if you're one of these contenders, are you thinking that what a wasted opportunity not to have Donald Trump there to defend his record, and so you can make yourself heard against the man? Or are you thinking that this is a chance to make yourself heard on that debate stage without having to defend yourself from Donald Trump's sort of unique insult humor approach to a presidential debate?
Well, if I had seen any of the other candidates who were willing to stand up firmly against Donald Trump, other than former Governor Chris Christie, perhaps I'd agree with that premise or explore that topic anyway. I think the reason why Trump is staying away from this debate is because he's afraid he'll have too much lipstick on his ass when he leaves because of the other candidates who are just kissing up to him all the time. I don't even know how any of these other candidates are willing to show up for the debate themselves, frankly, because with the exception of Christie, all of them seem to agree that basically Donald Trump was a great president, and so I'd like to be the next Donald Trump. The only problem is the last Donald Trump is still alive and intends to run for the office as well. So if you want Trump, what are you going to take? Trump or the one who wants to be like Trump? It just doesn't make any sense. And until somebody stands up, and maybe it'll happen this week, until somebody stands up and makes some substantive case why Donald Trump should not be the next president of the United States, or at least the next nominee for the Republican Party, then this is all just a joke. I mean, it's just ridiculous I think I'm going to watch it just to see if lightning strikes and somebody wakes up and somebody who has a chance, and by that I mean not Chris Christie, stands up and says something. But the people who are closest to him right now, DeSantis has just been kind of engaging in sort of lame passive aggressiveness toward Trump, and Nikki Haley's been virtually unheard from since she originally announced that she was running. And then, Vivek Ramaswamy, who has been doing interviews all over the media and frankly is the most, other than Trump, the most mentioned candidate in recent days in the media, still is behind DeSantis and Haley. And so, he's got quite an uphill battle. If I had to guess that anybody has a shot of making an impression, it is Ramaswamy, who's very eloquent, who is fully capable of expressing himself in ways that appear sincere, and is not what did you used to call that, Bill? He's not fighting under the Marquis of was Queensberry rules or whatever.
Marquis of Queensberry's rules, yeah.
So now maybe somebody will surprise us here. Maybe the what was it? The governor of Nebraska or something. Doug something or other.
Oh, yeah.
Who's that 1%? Yeah, maybe he'll come out of the trees and surprise us. But frankly, I think every Republican candidate has to look inside their souls and say, if you're running for vice president of the United States, get out. If you're running for a position on the cabinet, get out. Unless you're running to take down Donald Trump and replace him as the Republican nominee, get out. And if you are running to do that, then do it. And stop equivocating, stop being such a quisling about it, stop trying to suck up to his followers by not offending him. You've got to have the guts to fight this fight, and if you're not going to do it, just get out.
Can I add something to that? Because Scott, it's a great point. It's basically it leaves the other Republican challengers in the position of new Coke, right? You've got, this is the new Coke is the classic example of something that didn't have a market. So Coca-Cola owns the world. They've got this crazy, most popular brand, recognizable brand in the world. Pepsi is gaining on them. Coke panics, and they make a Coke that tastes more like Pepsi. And who does this make happy? It doesn't make the Pepsi drinkers happy because it doesn't taste like Pepsi, and it doesn't taste like Coke anymore either. It's a catastrophe. So yes, Scott's right about that. Now, I think most of this obviously is done from a primarily emotional base, but if you want to take the unlikely case of this being a four-dimensional chess move, the one benefit I see out of Donald Trump not being in the debates is because they should just announce this, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the vice presidential debate for Republican in 2024. But the main point I was trying to make, Steve, is that Donald Trump gets very personal with these things. And if he's not actually debating with these people, he's unlikely to enter the kind of exchange that would so poison the waters as a vice presidential candidate that he can basically just sit back and kind of take his pick. If he's on the stage with those people and they attack him, he's going to attack back. And that can get not only damaging to, little Marco or whatever he called Ted or whatever. It can also all that Donald Trump can expect from being in the Republican primary debates is attacks against him that the Democrats will use, saying that this is what Ron DeSantis thinks of Donald Trump. So anyway,
yeah, I think it's pretty much nothing but upside for Trump not to attend these things. The one question I had when I first started writing about this morning over at Instapundit was, what if a candidate at Wednesday's debate has one of those breakout moments? You can never predict them, but you know one when you see it happen, and it can really define a candidate's campaign. They're set them on fire, really, just launch them into the stratosphere. And with Trump not being there, if somebody has a breakout moment, Trump's not there to stomp out that flame right away. And I thought that's a little bit of a risk. And then I read something. Trump is scheduled to be arraigned in Atlanta on Friday, but he's going to turn himself in voluntarily on Thursday, which is going to wipe out the news cycle on whatever happens Wednesday night, that debate. So there is your big stomp.
Well, but I mean, wouldn't that be the ultimate Trump endorsement? Would be for him to say, I cannot attend the Republican primaries this evening because this legal witch hunt that's been pursuing me around the country is going to have me detained.
Yeah. Well, he won't be
I'd
detained
love to be there, but
at
I can't.
that time. And actually, he's counter-programming the debates. If I remember correctly, Tucker Carlson's pre-recorded interview with Trump that will stream on the network formerly known as Twitter, now known as X, is going to be counter-programmed that same time, isn't it, Steve?
I believe it is. Man, the thing is, I love Tucker's monologues. His interviews, so-so. I wish he were a little sharper on those. But
I think Trump wants the camera all to himself, and
at the very least, Donald Trump understands how these things work.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And when I said the next president in 2012 is going to be coming from the pop culture and that he's going to know how to work the press instead of being worked by the press, you can at least say that about the guy. He understands how things like ratings work.
Yep. Most successful reality show host in history, and there's a reason for that. The man understands the medium of television. And I think it's the right call, although I am disappointed. And the one thing that I would lay down $100 on if I could get some decent odds, $100 right now, that alleged President Joe Biden will use Trump's absence from the Republican debates to skip out on the traditional 2 or 3 debates against Donald Trump in the general election, because we know that Joe's not up to it. And that's your right angle on that, brought to you by the members at BillWhittle.com. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.